Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, the parallelogram PQRS was transformed using the rule XY changed to Y, comma, negative X to create the parallelogram P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime. Which of the following statement is true about the transformation? So we're looking for a true statement, right, from this transformation. And they're giving us the parallelogram on the grid. They're also giving us the rule. Okay, so it's very important that we understand what kind of rule is that. Now, if you are able to identify that this rule has to do with one of the transformations, should make things a lot easier for you. Okay, so the fact that I do see that the x and the y are interchanging, I know that that has to do with rotation. Because if it was a translation, it would be like a +5, -3, you know. And if it was a dilation, I will have a coefficient multiplying the x and the y. So those are the things that I need for you guys to memorize. So this one has to do with rotation. Okay. Now, in a rotation, we have changes that happens that goes 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and they talk about clockwise, counterclockwise, right? So let me go ahead and show you this one. So number one, in a rotation, very important, it keeps the congruency. In other words, my shapes don't get bigger or smaller, okay? And the rule that I have for this one, it's gotta be 90 degrees clockwise, okay? So what does it mean by clockwise? Well, it means that this shape will more than likely end up right here. Not all of them, because notice how point R, it's in a different quadrant. So more than likely point R will land somewhere on this quadrant over here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up with my coordinates, right, for my points, for my vertices. So I have them right here. You're welcome to write them down. So let's start with P. Okay, so write down -8 and 7. This is X and Y. And the rule says that what's gonna happen is that my P prime is gonna change. My Y is gonna become my X, and my X become the Y, but multiplied by a -1. Therefore, it becomes a +8. Okay, that negative X over here, guys, it doesn't mean that it becomes a negative. It means that it multiplies by a negative. Okay, what about S prime? Well, this is X and Y, so the Y becomes the X, and the -8 multiplied by a +1. Okay, very good. I think we got it, right? So this is X and Y, and a +3. And the R prime, let's not forget the little comma or apostrophe. The X and the Y becomes the X, and the X becomes the opposite of that. So these are my new points, right? Now, the reason why I want you to graph them is because by looking at the answer choices, I see something that says the parallel is not congruent. So to find if it's congruent, I know that that's what my rule says, but I want to prove it to you that the shape is not getting bigger or smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab those points. So I have +7 and 8. That's 9, right? Hold on. So this will be 7 and 8 will be right here. Don't forget to write down your labels. This is P prime, right? Then I need 1 and 8, which is going to be right here. And this is going to be S prime. Then I need 2 and 3, +2, +3. This will be Q prime. And the last one is -4 and +3, which is right here, and this will be R prime. Okay, if you connect them, look what happens. It just kind of like tilts it to the side, right? Notice how this P, and I'm going to erase that. Let me show you this. This P goes from here all the way here. See that? It kind of like moves, right? And it follows that. S goes with S prime and things like that. But I look at letter A that it says parallel PQR is not congruent. And that's not true. I can see that they are congruent, right? Letter B, the area of parallel PQR is greater. Is that true? Could one have more area than the other one? No, they are exactly the same. Letter C, the side lengths of parallel PQRS are equal to the corresponding side length of parallel P prime, Q prime, R prime, and S prime. So is that true? Is the side length going to be equal to the corresponding side length? Yes, it is, right? For example, one of the easiest to compare is S and P because I can actually count the squares, right, or the units. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Come back up here and count. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the side lengths don't change. They're still congruent. So letter C is correct. Let's look at letter D. It says the sum of the angles measurements of parallel, let me go ahead and highlight this one. Angle measurements of parallel PQRS is less than. Is it possible for the angles to be less than the ones for the corresponding angles? No, the angles stays congruent as well. Okay, so the answer for this then it is gonna be my letter C. Very good.